In March, I made a video ranking every ride and slide at Cedar Point, so it's time to rank all of the rides at the other Ohio park, Kings Island. While I haven't ridden the slides at Kings Island, I can still rank all of the rides in the park, not including the kids' rides. Kings Island, like Cedar Point, is home to a ton of roller coasters and thrilling flat rides, so it's time to rank every ride at Kings Island. Number 35, Grand Carousel. Located right near the Eiffel Tower is the Grand Carousel. This carousel is actually the only ride on International Street, and unlike the Cedar Point Racing Carousel, this ride is super slow. It has a nice theme song and appearance, but its slow cycle makes it the worst ride in the park. 34, Great Pumpkin Coaster. I know I said I wouldn't be ranking the kiddie rides, but kiddie coasters I will rank. The Great Pumpkin Coaster, previously known as Taxi Jam, is the smallest coaster in the park. It stands just 8 feet tall and consists of a drop and 2 small bunny hops. It's not a bad kiddie coaster and is perfect for younger audiences, but compared to the other rides in the park, it's nothing special. Number 33, Boo Blasters on Boo Hill. Located right next door to Great Pumpkin Coaster is this shooting dark ride. Riders load into their cars equipped with a shooter. The ride course consists of a few animatronics, a couple of moving cutouts, and many targets to shoot to stack up some points. However, the effects on this ride sometimes don't work, the shooters don't work all the time, and compared to other dark rides, it feels very dated. The Justice League dark rides are way better than Boo Blasters. Number 32, Kings Island and Miami Valley Railroad. Like Cedar Point, Kings Island has a railroad that takes you to another part of the park. However, compared to Cedar Point's railroad, this train is entirely in the woods of Rivertown, making for a super scenic ride. It also gives great shots of Mystic Timbers and Diamondback if you're looking to film. The reason this train ride doesn't place higher is because the other station is located in Soak City, which is not used that often. Number 31, Whitewater Canyon. Located in the exact same area of the park is the River Raft Ride. The raft ride also goes through the woods of Rivertown and is actually located very far back. The entire ride is under Mystic Timbers. Even though this ride is scenic, compared to the other more thrilling water rides in the park, I can only place a raft ride so high. Also, this is just my opinion, but I'm not the biggest fan of water rides, especially these raft rides. If you disagree, leave a comment down below. Number 30, Dodgems. Dodgems are always fun attractions. This one is located in Coney Mall, but unlike most, which are just typical bumper cars, Dodgems has a ring in the center that you're forced to drive around. This makes it harder to bump into people, and riders are forced to go in a certain direction. I get why they did this to avoid head-on collisions, but the ring makes the ride less thrilling. Number 29, Flying Ace Aerial Chase. Here is the second of 3 kiddie coasters, and this one is actually pretty unique. The coaster is actually inverted, so children's feet dangle during the layout. The ride experience is decently lengthy and has a variety of turns, but unfortunately has a strong rattle throughout the whole ride. These coasters have been nicknamed Hangin' Bangs because of this, so they can only be placed so high. At least it's not as bad as Kitty Hawk at Carowinds. Number 28, Race for Your Life Charlie Brown. This log flume is technically located in the kiddie section, but it traverses the woods of Rivertown. While this log flume only has one drop, riders splash around the woods through a scenic ride experience before plunging down the iconic drop. Number 27, Zephyr. Zephyr is located right by the racer and is just a typical wave swinger attraction. It's a colorful ride experience and gives a great breeze on a summer day. It also has some minor negatives on each of the swings, where you might be able to hit the leaves of the nearby trees. Number 26, Viking Fury. I'm not a fan of these swinging ship rides, but I can't deny that they are good rides. I just don't enjoy them. This ride is very scenic, sitting over the lake in Adventureport. It also gives some okay pops of airtime on each of the swings. It's just not my favorite ride. Number 25, Woodstock Express. This is the best kiddie coaster in the park this year. Snoopy's Soapbox Racer is probably going to claim that title next year. It's also the oldest kiddie coaster in the park. It's a wooden coaster that previously went by the name Ghoster Coaster and Beastie before that. It has a few small drops and actually a tiny airtime moment in the second half. It has some bumpiness to it, but the layout is strong for a kiddie coaster. Number 24, Kings Mills Antique Autos. One of the newer attractions in the park is this fantastic antique car ride. It has a long duration and is very scenic. It has great views of Racer, a ton of teasers and references around the layout, and even a bridge over a makeshift waterway. It's a great family ride to take a break from the coasters. Number 23, Scrambler. This is another flat ride located in Coney Mall, and this is just a typical Scrambler. It's definitely not as vibrant as some of the others, but it still is a fun ride experience with tons of laterals pushing guests into the cushioned seats. 22, Flight of Fear. I tried to keep some opinions out of this, but I couldn't place this horrible ride higher than this. The launch is decent with some good punch to it, but everything after is a mess. The transitions are terrible, the seats are way too tight, and the horrendously strong rattle takes away from the ride experience. It might be better outside so you can brace for the turns, but I would skip Flight of Fear unless you want a headache. I know some people like this ride for its intensity, so that's why it places at 22. Number 21, Woodstock Gliders. This is technically in Planet Snoopy, but this is basically a thrill ride. These gliders are always fun because of the ability to snap the cars. Moving the cars up and then back down causes them to swing and provide some decent pops of airtime. These are always fun rides. 20, Cargo Loco. Cargo Loco is one of the newer flat rides, opening this year with Adventureport. Cargo Loco is like a teacup ride. It has some crazy spinning that makes riders dizzy. In addition, the theming around the ride and the ride cars being themed to barrels adds to the spinning experience. It's a fun and disorienting ride. 19, Monster. The worst thing about these rides is the loading cycle. Monster takes a very long time to load, but once it's cycling, it's a fun ride. There's a bit of laterals mixed with some okay airtime pops at the top of the ride. It's basically a mix of the Woodstock Gliders and Scrambler. 18, Congo Falls. The best water ride in the park is Congo Falls. Unfortunately, Congo Falls doesn't travel through the woods. Instead, it climbs up and drops into an absolutely massive splashdown. This drenches riders. In addition, the double down drop has a violent airtime pop, which is scary with such loose restraints. Congo Falls is definitely the most thrilling water ride in the dry park. Number 17, Invertigo. Located right next door, is a lot of people's least favorite coaster in the park, but it really depends on where you sit. If you sit in the front row facing the Cobra Roll, the ride will be terrible. You can't brace for the faster backwards loop, and the ride is a lot rougher. However, in the back row facing the lift hill first, the ride experience is smooth and you can actually appreciate the intensity. Number 16, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Take a Scrambler and tilt it on its side. Then you have the Troika model. Shake, Rattle, and Roll, located by Backlot Stunt Coaster, is always enjoyable. It starts with some decent laterals before rising up and giving some nice negatives and positives. It provides every force in a pretty simple design. You're always guaranteed a good ride. 15, Adventure Express. I haven't ridden this Aero Mine train since the re-theme, but I've heard only good things. It now consists of a few monkeys and a more dynamic theme, where the mine train accidentally gets on the wrong track. The layout has a couple of turns, a few of which in the second half have some violent jolts, which can make your experience worse. It's hard to look past the positive things Adventure Express does though, which includes some crazy laterals and a good sense of speed. 14, Extreme Skyflyer. Extreme Skyflyer, unfortunately, is an upcharge attraction. However, these ripcord rides are always enjoyable. Riders are taken up high in the sky, facing downwards before being dropped and soaring over Action Zone. It's a very thrilling ride experience. 13, Surf Dog. These Zamperla Disco style rides are always very enjoyable. Surf Dog is pretty hidden in Planet Snoopy, but the ride experience is still fun. It has some great negatives rising up the spikes. You can get some pretty good stomach twists near the end of the board. Number 12, Backlot Stunt Coaster. This is considered one of the best family coasters. It starts out super intense with a quick launch into a massive upward spiral, causing a gray out. Past that, the ride meanders through shipping containers, past cop cars, and through a tunnel. It's a short ride, but super enjoyable if you can get past some of the weirder transitions. Number 11, WindSeeker. Since this WindSeeker isn't located on the shores of Lake Erie, it can only be placed so high. However, WindSeeker still provides a beautiful view of Kings Island, the forest, and the Miami River Valley in the distance. It also provides a great breeze on a hot day. Number 10, the Bat. The worst part about this ride is the walk to it. It's located far away from the park on a very narrow pathway. However, that makes the ride experience better. It feels secluded from the rest of the park in a valley, which the layout uses to its advantage. There's lots of low to the ground swinging and some tight turns, which provides the positives. This ride also feels very fast, while only being around 50 miles per hour. It's a short but sweet swinging coaster. Number 9, Soul Spin. The newest ride in the park for 2023 is Soul Spin, a new generation Zamperla Enterprise. Soul Spin, located in the new Adventureport, is pretty well themed and finally providing an inverting flat ride to the park. It inverts riders tons of times and is very disorienting, but also very fun. Number 8, the Racer. Racer is the oldest coaster in the park, tied with Woodstock Express. A lot of people hate this ride, but if you ride in the right seat, it's very enjoyable. Definitely do the blue side, not the red side on this coaster. It is full of airtime, and the recent retracts make the faster sections incredibly smooth. Number 7, Delirium. Located in Action Zone is this super fast Huss Frisbee. While it isn't as tall as Max Air at Cedar Point, it feels much faster and way more intense. It's my favorite Frisbee I've ridden because of the positives in the valleys and the insane floater airtime on the swings. Number 6, Drop Tower. The other flat ride in Action Zone is Drop Tower, and this is a super intimidating ride. Drop Tower brings riders to the top, giving a panoramic view of the park before dropping riders down without warning. Guests are floating out of their seats for a long time before finally reaching the bottom. It's a scary but very thrilling ride. Number 5. Banshee. Banshee is the fastest B&M invert in the world, and you definitely feel the speed. Because the ride uses the terrain, guests don't hit the fastest point until halfway through the coaster. Banshee has a crazy first drop, whipping riders down before giving tons of floaty inversions. The dive loops, vertical loops, and zero-G roll all provide fantastic floating sensations, and the last inversion provides up to 4 to 5 seconds of hang time. It's an intense and very fun coaster. Number 4. The Beast. While not as forceful as Banshee, the Beast overall is a more fun experience. It's surprisingly smooth for its age, and it feels like the ride speeds up as it goes. It goes very deep into the woods, making for a secluded but legendary ride experience. The final double helix is one of the scariest moments on any coaster, with the head chopper tunnel, the screeching of the train, and the insane laterals. Everyone needs to experience this ride at night as well. It makes the experience so much better. Number 3. Orion. This list might get controversial here, but my number 3 is Orion. Orion is a B&M Giga coaster and is a fantastic ride. The first drop feels like it lasts forever, the ride is very smooth, and there are a couple of great airtime moments throughout the coaster. Orion is definitely very short and lacking in a couple areas, but it's meant to be a speed machine, and it definitely is one. Also, I have to mention the great soundtrack and area that accompanies this ride. Number 2. Mystic Timbers. This used to be my number 1 ride in the park, but after tons of rides at Coaster Stock this year, my list has changed. Mystic Timbers is still a world-class wooden coaster. It has some of the wildest transitions through the woods ever, and the drops are super sudden and whippy. The wooden rumble also adds to the crazy experience, but compared to the number 1, it has a lot weaker airtime. However, Mystic Timbers places just one spot below the number 1 pick in my overall coaster rankings. That shows you how close this is. If you want a more intense ride experience, definitely choose Mystic Timbers. But I prefer number 1, Diamondback. Diamondback is an absolutely incredible coaster. It overtook Mystic this year because we finally found the way to ride. The back row is an incredible experience. Does it have a rattle? Yes, but not strong enough to take away from the ride. The first few hills are absolutely wild and throw you out of your seat. The turnaround is pretty whippy, and the wooded section makes for an incredible night ride. The second half still has great floater airtime before diving into the iconic splashdown. In the back row, you can get your whole arm wet by sticking it out to the side on the splashdown. Diamondback overall is a fantastic experience and my favorite ride at Kings Island. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment what your favorite rides at Kings Island are, and have a great rest of your day.